Starting the semester off right.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and I'm a learning specialist with the Office of Disability Services, a part of Columbia Health.
And I'm Daryl, also a learning specialist with Disability Services.
The start of your Columbia University journey is an exciting time. It can also be daunting, and for some students, including students with disabilities, it might come with additional concerns about how they can make the most of their time with Columbia.
As an institution committed to equal and equitable access to the full university experience, Columbia has a host of departments, services, and resources that are designed to support students with disabilities so they can learn and thrive while they're students here. This video is intended to introduce you to these supports so you can take advantage of them as you need.
Throughout this video, Columbia students with visible and invisible disabilities will share some of their lived experiences and their perspectives on mental health and well-being. Their stories will give you a sense of how they've successfully navigated the campus resources which enabled them to thrive at Columbia.
In other parts of this video, Disability Services and other Columbia Health staff will share some tips on how to start the semester off right and about their roles and perspectives on mental health and well-being in the Columbia community.
Here are the topics we will cover in this video, along with their timestamps. You can watch this video in order or jump around using the timestamps.
We hope you enjoy the video.
Introduction to Disability Services.
Hi, I'm Colleen Lewis. I'm the Senior Executive Director of Disability Services here at Columbia.
I'm Laura Diane, and I'm the Director of Student Case Management at Disability Services.
And I'm Anuj Prasad, the Associate Director of Operations at Disability Services.
Disability Services provides accommodations and support services to facilitate equal access to the curriculum and all that the university has to offer. We collaborate with many departments across Columbia to ensure that students fully participate in the Columbia experience.
Students with a wide range of disabilities register with our office. This includes, but is not limited to, students with mental health disorders, psychiatric disabilities, visual disabilities, auditory disabilities, temporary and chronic medical conditions, and learning disabilities. We have thousands of students who are registered with Disability Services each year.
The Disability Services registration process includes submitting disability documentation and our registration form, which gives you the opportunity to share your own personal narrative and experiences with your disability. This helps our office better understand the impact of your disability and determine appropriate accommodations.
The intake team at DS can help you determine which documentation will be needed for your application. Here is a QR code that takes you to our website page with detailed instructions for how to register with our office, as well as the registration form. Please keep in mind, you don't need to submit everything all at once.
And our team is here to guide you through the process. If you have any questions, please email us at disability@columbia.edu or visit us during virtual drop-in hours.
Hi, I'm Aria. This is Arthur, and I'm a English major at the School of General Studies. I've had a really incredible time at Columbia, and I think it was honestly one of the best things I've done for myself. And so I got diagnosed with celiac right as I was starting at Columbia. And so my experience at Columbia has been my transition and learning how to live with it. There have definitely been some challenges around the city and around spaces not associated with ODS, but I'm so grateful for the constant validation and reminder that I do deserve to be here and helping me learn how to navigate spaces as someone who now has a disability. Honestly, I'm in the process of finding my people because it's been learning what my boundaries and who I was before and then making that transition to after. This is Arthur. He's my 4-month-old border collie. He's a service dog in training. After working with ODS and my learning specialist, I think I really started looking at things as what accommodations or what resources do I need to do this, as opposed to seeing things as something I could or couldn't do with my disability. And so I decided to get Arthur because there were a lot of things that I can't do after I graduate, but he's basically gonna be my accommodation and he's gonna make that possible.
Belonging.
Hello, I'm Jillian Atkinson, she, her pronouns. I'm the Director of Strategic Engagement at Columbia Health. I'm excited for this opportunity to speak with you about an especially important piece of your college experience, building your community of support to enable a greater sense of belonging. Why is this so essential? Research shows that feeling like you belong isn't just nice to have. It is directly linked with a student's success and greater resilience while they're at university. Now I want to share with you some concrete steps you can take to build your network to increase your sense of belonging here at Columbia. Will they ask you to stretch a little? To step outside your comfort zone? To allow some vulnerability? Sure. But in college, this is often the perfect time to try something new. You are not alone in this. And if you don't know where to start, you might begin with meeting people at Disability Services or at Alice Health Promotion, or by following campus offices' social media and attending student events. So here are a few ideas I want to share with you. 1. Introduce yourself to one new campus resource or group. Columbia has so many clubs and groups available to you. Whether it's joining a student club that resonates with you, or a CPS support group, or participating in Alice's group wellness coaching. Just one connection can open doors. 2. Attend one student event outside of your usual circle. There's lots to do if you're willing to step into something new. At that event, aim to meet at least one peer or staff member, introduce yourself, mention your interests or your challenges, even just briefly, and exchange contact information. A broader social network helps you feel connected. 3. Use social media, online networks to follow and engage campus offices. Watch for upcoming events, wellness talks, groups, panels. Engage in just one event each month, even if it's just liking the event post on social media or RSVPing to the event. This keeps you in the loop and helps you see options to join the community. 4. Share something about yourself, even if it's something small. Invite a peer. Vulnerability helps create real connection. When you meet someone, say in class or during a club meeting or at an event, you might say, "This was a lot of fun and I'm rather shy, but I'm looking to meet new people to help broaden my perspective. Would you like to go to coffee sometime?" That small sharing helps others see you and you see them, and your community grows. You don't need to do everything overnight. Pick one or two of these and build from there. If it feels scary or overwhelming at first, that is totally natural. I want to assure you, you belong here. Your presence matters, your voice matters, and by reaching out, by showing up, by connecting, you begin to build a community that not only supports your academic success, but also supports your whole self. Please take that one step and remember, help is here. I look forward to seeing you around campus and watching you become a part of this community.
My name is Eleanor. I'm a junior in the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, studying operations research. Thinking in terms of systems as an engineering student does, I'd say that just because of how diverse Columbia is, the system and how the individual students in it act are incredibly flexible and human-centered. There are communities made by people like us for you to make friends and make community and discuss important topics.
Services.
Hi, I'm Christina Majewski, the Director of Accessibility Services at Disability Services. I work with various teams across the office and around the university to ensure students have access to non-testing accessibility services.
And I'm Casey Adams, an Assistant Accommodations Manager and part of the Testing Accommodations team at Disability Services. I help ensure that students receive the appropriate accommodation during their exams, and all operations run smoothly in our testing center.
When students register with Disability Services, they request accommodations. Our office then reviews their documentation and determines which accommodations they are eligible for during their time at Columbia.
Knowing what services are available is really important because what we do for students with disabilities is a critical support for their mental health and their well-being overall.
For instance, a common reason students will register with DS is to access testing accommodations. Our testing rooms can provide some of the following: extra time, reduced capacity in the testing room, and accessible seating and desk. We also provide assistive technology, which is any item, software, hardware, or equipment used to increase, maintain, or improve the functional capabilities of people with disabilities. Some examples include screen reader software and accessible e-text. Additionally, we facilitate access to note-taking services with a designated note-taker for students who struggle to simultaneously take notes and participate in class due to their disability.
We also provide sign language interpreting and speech-to-text services for students and visitors who are deaf or hard of hearing to facilitate communication and participation in university programs and activities. Our office facilitates housing and animal accommodations, such as accessible dorm rooms and permissions for verified assistance animals. And we also provide the learning specialist meetings and workshops.
If you want to know more, please visit Columbia Health's website for information about campus accessibility, a complete list of services and accommodations we provide, as well as directions on how to register with our office.
Christina and Casey's roles facilitating access to our services gives them a unique window into the intersection of well-being, mental health, and accessibility here on campus. As a bonus, we asked them for some of their insights into students' lives.
As a former graduate student assistant who has transitioned into a full-time role within the same office, I understand both sides of student well-being. As a student, it's important to take care of yourself in whatever way works best for you personally. It's also reassuring to know that the university offers extensive support in all areas. I experienced some as a student, but I now see it more fully in my current role.
I believe in the importance of providing services that ensure students feel supported holistically during their time here at Columbia. Disability Services helps to achieve this goal alongside its campus partners by serving as a one-stop shop for student accommodations. One of the most meaningful aspects of the work I get to focus on is ensuring students have information about and access to housing accommodations, as having an accessible and safe space helps promote well-being and a sense of security for our students.
My name is Christopher Rangel. I'm getting a Master's of Science in Strategic Communication from the School of Professional Studies. When I first got involved here at Columbia, the Veteran Services reached out to me, the StratCom program reached out to me, and then getting exposed to other communal groups such as within DS, and it sort of comes to the top. You know, the VA and the Veteran Services is there, and they're always offering as much help. As a veteran, there was a little bit of an issue in the asking for help, and you sort of feel like, where am I gonna go? Who do I talk to? But you just have to start with that one step, and you have to ask. You know, sometimes that's the biggest jump, is just learning how to ask for help. Columbia definitely has a place for its veterans, and with that, if you're a veteran who's dealing with certain issues that you don't want to be so front-forwarded about, but you do have to navigate certain things. You know, there's a lot of stigmas associated with veterans, and even maybe self-imposed stigmas that veterans may have to deal with. But Columbia opens up that breadth, and it opens up that conversation, and it leads you to the resources. It's really important when you find something that you care about and you start to delimit on the path, and again, the help and the resources show you that anything is really possible once you find your mission. I'm so grateful to be part of this prestigious institution, and I'm so grateful for all of the resources that have been accessible to me on this journey.
Academic support resources.
Hi, I'm Amanda Kostreva, the Assistant Director of Disability Services. In the student-facing part of my position, I act as the case manager for any student who needs disability support services on the CUIMC campus in order to fully access their program.
And I'm Sonia Hernandez, Associate Director of Student Case Management. I serve as a case manager for a cohort of students with disabilities. providing ongoing support, coordinating specialized services, and ensuring access to accommodations.
We are here to talk about some of the academic resources available at the university, beyond the wide range of supports and services Disability Services provides for students registered with our office.
A resource that is available to all students but is often overlooked as a source of support is Columbia's library system, which is more than a nexus of quiet places to study and get course materials. Many of Columbia's 16 libraries offer academic support, research services, workshops, and accessibility accommodations to empower students to reach their learning goals. You can visit the library's website for an overview of their resources and the contact information for their Disability Services liaison.
Another fantastic resource is for students matriculated at Columbia, except for those in the School of Social Work who need help with writing. They can make appointments with the Writing Center for one-on-one consultations and receive feedback and strategies to help them improve at every stage of their writing, from brainstorming to final drafts. Students registered with Disability Services can set up recurring meetings so they don't have to keep making single appointments. Also, the Health Sciences Library on the medical campus offers a 3-workshop series on scientific writing, and the School of Social Work has its own writing support resources.
A great resource for Columbia College and School of Engineering and Applied Science students who have difficulty with introductory courses ranging from biology to Spanish are the help rooms and individual tutoring offered by some departments. For example, if you're struggling with general chemistry, peer leaders in the chemistry department's peer-led learning center's help rooms provide extra help to students who are taking that course.
Amanda and Sonia just shared really fantastic resources that will be a great help for students from both campuses. Now, because of their roles guiding and supporting students, they have an expansive view of the student experience at Columbia. We asked them to share some of their insights on supporting students' mental health and well-being while at Columbia.
Each campus has slightly different needs, but there are also many commonalities. In my experience, students often come to our office because they have shared their struggles with a friend, peer, or trusted academic advisor, who has then encouraged them to register for Disability Services support. I think this shows how connection encourages even more connection. Peer conversations reduce feelings of loneliness and stigma. Hearing about disability services from a peer is often more powerful than hearing about it from us in an orientation or formal information session. I encourage you all to keep being vulnerable, reaching out to each other and talking to each other about your struggles, needs, and what has helped you. I additionally think that often students at Columbia are used to being top performers and academically successful. If a student is suddenly not getting straight A's like they are used to, they can feel shame and question themselves instead of reaching out to ask for help. I want students to know that our office works with over 4,000 students per year. This is proof that you are certainly not the only one struggling, and that struggling does not mean you can't do it. You just need the right tools for your specific situation. Everyone needs help at some point, and help can take different forms at different times, depending on your specific circumstances and the environment.
I've had the privilege of working with some of the most resilient students at Columbia, individuals who've managed to balance personal, academic, and professional responsibilities, often under immense pressure. I've consistently made it a priority to connect my students with the resources they need and deserve, knowing how easy it can be to deprioritize mental health and overall well-being. Supporting students holistically has been a core part of my approach, and I strive to ensure they never feel like they have to navigate challenges alone.
My name is Rose Tuttle, and I am a student at Columbia College studying film and media with a concentration in business. In the spring of my freshman year, I was diagnosed with OCD. Prior to that, I hadn't actually, I had an inkling that I had OCD, but I wasn't very aware if I should go and get help, if I needed help or anything like that. But when I got diagnosed, I then decided to reach out to ODS because my therapist who diagnosed me, she recommended it. I was like, okay. So I reached out to ODS and I got testing accommodations. And that I didn't realize until I had the accommodations that it was actually something that I didn't even realize I needed. So when I took tests in high school, I was always the last one to finish. And I was always sort of like, oh, I think this is just like how I take tests and how this goes for me. When I was able to have those testing accommodations through ODS, I was so surprised that I was able to work a lot more efficiently. I actually finished the test a lot earlier than I originally had, and so typically when I take tests, and so it was just so wonderful to have these accommodations and this experience. I feel very supported here at Columbia, and also very seen as well.
Learning strategies.
Hi, welcome back. As learning specialists, we work with eligible students across Columbia's undergraduate, graduate, professional, and non-degree programs who are registered with the Disability Services Office.
Disability Services offers academic support through individualized learning specialist meetings and workshops. We work individually with students to set goals and work on personalized learning strategies. We also facilitate group workshops each semester open to all DS registered students that cover topics such as reading and note-taking, study skills, and academic well-being.
As learning specialists, we work with students behind the scenes to equip them with academic skills to help them feel successful and confident in their classes, which then positively contributes to a feeling of belonging. Over the past few years, Disability Services has expanded group support for students so students can work on executive function and academic skills alongside their peers and see many examples of Columbia students with disabilities really thriving and doing amazing things.
And in addition to groups that DS offers, there are student-run groups that build community and camaraderie among students with disabilities. These groups are wonderful resources and ways for students to connect with one another, and can be found by going to the Columbia Clubs and Organizations webpage.
From my work with students, one of the biggest factors for positive mental health that I have observed is community. From an academic standpoint, this happens by making connections with classmates, by having positive experiences in classes, and by feeling supported by faculty.
Yeah, that really is so important. Students having a supportive community during high stress times is vital to their success, especially for students with disabilities. In addition to relying on community, it's important for students to be organized and have a plan so they know what to expect and can level out the ups and downs. In the remainder of this segment, we'll talk about strategies for 3 areas that we commonly work on with students: goal setting, time management, and of course, learning.
Goal setting. One of the most impactful things that you can do to improve your learning is to set academic goals. There are so many learning strategies and ideas you can implement. Goal setting allows you to narrow your focus and improve several skills in a meaningful way over time, rather than jumping from one thing to another.
Let's set an academic goal together. First, choose 1 to 2 areas of focus for your academic goals. To help get started, you can use the categories listed on the screen. You can pause the video now to give yourself some time to choose.
Once you have your areas of focus, you are ready to write your SMART goal. This is an acronym that you can use to write effective goals. This acronym stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. One example of a SMART academic goal is, I will read my science textbook for 20 minutes per day for the next 2 weeks to work on reading and focus.
And another SMART goal is, I will start my essay outline 2 weeks before the deadline and finish it before my writing center appointment 1 week before the essay is due to work on writing and time management.
The last step is to set up a system to track your goals. With our students, we use an Excel spreadsheet template to keep track of goals and rate their success each week. Tracking the goal over at least 1 to 2 months gives students a sense of their progress, provides feedback, and can be very motivating.
And another method for tracking success that helps students, particularly those with ADHD, are task reward systems in which students assign point values to tasks based on their relative difficulty. Students can then use those points for small rewards that they can increase as they hit point streaks.
Organization. Another thing that supports achieving your goals is planning and organization. Digital calendars like the one bundled with your student email are great because you can create specific designations and categories for different tasks and activities.
Yeah, and my calendar is a color-coded kaleidoscope of productivity that easily shifts as my tasks and plans progress. But you can have your calendar look, feel, or sound the ways that are accessible and effective for you.
Other tools that may help include trying physical calendars, handwritten to-do lists, and progress trackers. Many students find success using a combination of digital and physical organizational tools.
Yeah. There are also AI tools that can build a study plan from your syllabus or break down larger tasks into smaller ones that are easier to handle. But no matter what tools you use though, make sure to cross-reference the digital plan with the original source to make sure it's accurate, since AI is not perfect. Learning.
One thing you can do right away to improve your learning is to think of it as a process with a clear before, during, and after. The purpose of this next section is to introduce you to learning strategies and to take you through additional ways to make well-informed decisions about your learning.
Here's an example of how you might do that for a class lecture.
Before.
Ask yourself, what do I know about this topic? What do I want to know about this topic? Quickly preview the lecture slides, paying extra attention to diagrams or examples. By doing this, you're activating prior knowledge, which you can build upon during the class. You want your new learning connected to your previous learning or what you already know.
During. Sit in a spot in class that will be most engaging for you. If you can, take notes because it helps you pay attention. Take breaks as needed, especially if you find your attention waning. Breaks can be a good reset. Lastly, if you have a recording accommodation through DS, you can review certain sections later using the recording.
After class, set aside 15 minutes to review your notes. You can annotate using a different color pen, and then write a 3-sentence summary of the big picture ideas of that class. You could also just keep track of questions that come up as you're reviewing to use when you return to the material later. But the most important thing is that you are synthesizing in some way.
To further challenge your memory, write down everything you remember from the class before looking at your notes. Then, check your notes to fill in the gaps. This type of retrieval practice helps all learners, but may be especially helpful for students with ADHD or who experience memory difficulties, as more interaction with the content strengthens recall of that content.
Reading. Here's an example of how to implement this strategy for course readings.
Before.
Preview the reading. You're familiarizing yourself with the material, which can be accomplished by looking at the subheadings and the first few sentences of subsections. Use statements like, it seems, or I notice, such as, it seems there are subheadings for the components of a research study, or, I notice there are end of chapter questions that also relate to the content covered in class.
Once you preview, you can set a purpose for the reading, such as identifying evidence to support a research question or finding information to answer a discussion post. Now, you have a goal that can direct what parts of the reading to focus on. During.
Depending on your purpose for reading, you may focus more on different areas of the text. For example, if your goal is to learn about methodology, then you should focus more on the methods section of the article. If you're trying to learn how to answer application questions, focus on the theory to practice parts of the chapter.
While you read, highlight, underline, or take short margin notes on what you think is important. Less is more when you're highlighting, and it is okay to miss something. Often it is not until after reading that you have a full understanding of the text. We recommend revisiting your annotations after reading to determine what is most important.
Many people find hearing text while reading the text at the same time to be helpful for focus during reading. You might consider using assistive technology that reads the text aloud. Many of the programs you use already have such features built in.
After. This last step focuses on synthesizing your main takeaways from the reading. One way to do this is to write the key ideas from the reading or how the reading relates to your class assignments. Another approach is summarizing aloud. Since teaching content reinforces knowing it, you can explain the content to a friend, to a pet, or to yourself using speech-to-text or a recording program.
Or for a more visual way to organize the information, you can create a mind map of the major concepts from the reading and from your understanding of the topic as a whole. This is especially effective as it forces you to create your own organizational structure for the material and to analyze the connections between the topics.
If you're a Disability Services registered student and interested in individual learning specialist meetings, contact your case manager or email disability@columbia.edu to request a learning specialist meeting.
And if you're not registered with our office, there are so many wonderful learning resources available to all Columbia students. You should contact your program to find out more about what resources are offered.
My name is Alyia Vasquez. I am a first year at Columbia College and I'm hoping to study biochemistry. I found a club for people with type 1 diabetes that I've been going to, which is really, really cool. Because where I'm from, like super small town, there is like one other person in my high school, maybe, who I never really talked to. But now there's like a whole group of people and we can all share like stories, experience, supplies if anyone ever runs out. So that's been a really good resource for me. In terms of just like community in general, I found a group of friends really easily, which is awesome. Kind of just like by happenstance, like NSOF, and then just like talking to random people. It's a super welcoming and friendly environment, which I love. And yeah, I found my friends super easily. They've been super great, like with my disability, even people I don't know very well. Like if I mention like my blood sugar is not great, like people offer me food all the time or like ask if I need to sit down or ask how I'm feeling, which is really sweet, even if it's not like exactly what I need at the moment. But it's really nice that people care so much and are so open to learning as well, which is, I appreciate.
Excerpts from the Lived Experiences panel of students with disabilities, recorded on November 7th, 2025.
So Columbia's more than 270-year history as an Ivy League institution in the city of New York, one of the world's great metropolises, provides students with a unique environment in which to learn. However, it can be challenging for students, especially those with disabilities, to picture themselves thriving in what might seem from the outside to be an overwhelming place. That's why it's important to hear diverse student voices from inside the Columbia community, sharing their lived experiences and perspectives on mental health and well-being.
Reflecting on experiences as a student with a disability.
My overall goal is to go to med school, driven by my experience as a patient, and then interacting with other patients and stuff after I suffered a traumatic brain injury.
For example, I have both a power and manual chair, and the classroom setup is very different for a power and manual chair. A power chair is very heavy, so it makes a difference of if a power chair can fit in a lift. So all of these are taken into consideration before a room is assigned, and I'm very grateful for it. And even, for example, in ways that might not even I thought it would be possible. For example, I work at a lab up in the medical campus that might not be even on the Morningside campus, but DS has offered help, and they've spoken to the lab PI for me, and like the lab is not usually an accessible place. So I really appreciated having that support to be able to achieve my dreams and never be stopped because of my disabilities. So I was offered support even before I knew myself that I might have needed. So that has been very helpful, so I would not end up in trouble mid-semester because I was given the support before that.
But as someone who has a learning disability and has had struggles with it before in the past, I did not quite foresee how it would affect me here. And while I have been able to adjust slowly to the way Columbia teaches, it is very unnatural to me, but I do find that it is effective. I can honestly say I'm learning, so I am learning in all of the classes I'm taking. I am retaining the information, but I did find that was probably the biggest hurdle in the beginning.
Columbia was very helpful, not only in giving me accommodations for classes, but also helping me acquire the equipment I needed to deal with a lot of the situations where, just glasses and sitting at the front of the class cannot fully compensate for my lack of eyesight.
Overcoming academic challenges with support from community and disability services.
I wouldn't even call it failure or difficulty, but more like adaptation that was needed. But in the end, I think made me much more resilient and much more adaptable than I was. Columbia helped me acquire like a small camera and like an iPad setup. So I think that has been really extremely helpful in my case.
Finding the way to go about it has been like more of a nuanced challenge, or like maybe at least I perceive it to be that way. I sometimes when it's like approaching the professor, like I don't want to come across as like, seeming like I have an excuse or like a complaint or something like that. But also the staff at DS, advisors, and like the professors themselves in the end are helpful in reassuring you that like, no, like, these are legitimate things. And like, thank you for bringing it up. When you connect with ODS, you have like your introductory meeting. And if you are feeling anxious or like worried or anything like that, like say it, and your counselor will talk to you about it and like help you throughout the process.
One of the things a lot of students struggle with is imposter syndrome, feeling like they don't belong, like their classmates have it all figured out and they don't. And what I have found, at least in my specific situation, is my classmates have been some of the most affirming people. In my situation, one of the disabilities that frequently doesn't get talked about is depression and anxiety. Having your classmates say, well, in my Japanese class, I think you're learning fine. You don't seem to be as far behind as you perceive, or even in the STEM classes, you understand more than you probably feel like you do. That has been incredibly helpful and reassuring, and just knowing that we're kind of in this together. And Columbia is hard and it's adjustment for everyone. And the students, especially the ones who have been here a few years, are very helpful when it comes to just navigating the different things that I, again, didn't foresee when I got here, but I have found that has been the best help. Also, shout out to all of my professors for their office hours. They have helped me understand certain things about each of my classes that I may not have gotten on my own.
Like, it's definitely incredibly difficult finding a wheelchair accessible unit, but the fact that Columbia has them was just mine. It was like, what?
To be honest, especially in terms of disability, it's hard to think of cases where it has not ended up being a success just because of how supportive disability services and professors have been during my time at Columbia. as on an equal footing as everybody else.
Belonging and thriving at Columbia.
Through different phases of my life, I met different people, and one of the main ways that I was able to meet friends is that I'm a founder and chair of this organization called Neurodivergent at Columbia, which allowed me to find friends that are like me and share the same interests. Our organization is dedicated to neurodivergent students on the campus. Currently we have 220 members, and other than student support, we hold a yearly neurodiversity awareness conference for the entire community, and everyone are welcome. And last year, for example, 500 people attended, and this year we will be having our fourth conference.
I have found personally within my social circle, we understand each other, we emotionally support each other back and forth. And I have found that has allowed us to sustain our friendships, and probably will even after we leave Columbia.
In enrolling at Columbia, this was my first time going to school post-injury, so it's also my first time like being a student and working with disability services. So I had I didn't know what it would be like. What do I need? And so yeah.
I mean, everyone has imposter syndrome at the start, but you were chosen just like everybody else. So there's no reason why you wouldn't fit in while everyone else would.
My name is Michael King. I'm studying psychology, and I'm at GS. My experiences at Columbia with a student with a disability are that I don't really have to function as a student with a disability. I can function as a student, which makes me feel just like everybody else. I found it really easy to find my community. I'm one of this year's Jackie and Cook Scholars, so I came with a cohort, and now I have my family at GS, and I have the support of Disability Services. Finding people to hang out with, to spend time with, finding new friends hasn't been a problem. It's more like having to remember people's names. The struggle's real, but it's worth it. I know that a lot of people feel this sense of imposter syndrome, but it's false. Imposter syndrome can be a motivating experience. Embrace it.
Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you are registering with Disability Services or would like to take advantage of any programs through DS, we look forward to meeting with you or speaking with you in person.
You can reach out to our office by emailing us at disability@columbia.edu, calling us at 212-854-2388, visiting our website linked through the QR code on screen, or just stopping by our office in Wien Hall during drop-in hours listed on the website.
Reach out sooner than later, and welcome to the Columbia community.
We hope to see you soon.